Hello, this is IP Stories by 4IP Council, the podcast about innovation and intellectual property. Join us and you will hear about the journeys through invention, creation, and IP understanding of our guests.
I'm Marta.
And I am Axel, and we have with us today Lyse Brillouet, Executive Vice President of Research at Orange. Hi, Lyse.
Hi, Axel, and hi, Marta.
Hello, Liz. So great to have you here on our podcast today.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. In IP Stories, we like to talk about the person, the individual, and we would like to start with your story. You've spent much of your career at the intersection of technology and innovation. What initially sparked your interest in the tech world, and what pulled you into intellectual property?
So, first of all, thank you to both of you for having me today, and I'm very happy to share my views on IP, tech, and research. And okay, so I will reveal some details about my career, and I hope it will be inspirational for many women. So, initially, my background is business. I'm graduate from a business school, and I've entered very shortly the group Orange on commercial and marketing functions, and very rapidly have been attracted by tech issues and positions, and I felt at that time a little bit uncomfortable regarding the level of excellence, technicity of that position. So that's why I've decided to be more well-rounded, and I decided to take extra classes in a very well-known and famous telecommunications engineering school in Paris to really feel very natural and comfortable to discuss with all my other colleagues, telecommunications engineers mainly. And that's my background now. And because I had this unique opportunity to have many positions in business, innovation, engineering, also corporate functions to deal with European commissions or big mayors, city in France. I have this kind of multidisciplinary profile now, which helps me a lot to achieve my objectives as a head of research and head of IP.
That's incredible. I mean, you have touched so many things. So you have worked in the business side as well as technology and then research, standards, and now IP and licensing, right? So when you look at your trajectory, is there like a common thread or mission that has guided you across all these roles?
First of all, I've been always very, very interested by the management of people and teams. I think it is probably one of my main drivers. It's really to be able to lead people, to help them to do more, to be more efficient, to innovate, to succeed. It is really something very important for me to collaborate, to cooperate, to do things all together. And the second is really how to do things that have never been done before. That's why, except it for IP and research, all the different positions I've held in the group have been new positions, new subjects, new topics. And really at that time, I dedicated all my energy for finding ways to achieve these new roles and positions. And I felt very inspired by things to invent, really, or to create or to set up. And that's probably one of my main motivations I had during my career. And even now, with what I did with IP, or what I'm currently doing with research, is how to adapt our practices, how to refresh, reshape the way we do, the way we practice on the subjects, also in our cooperations, the, the way we communicate externally to what we do. It is something very important for me to bring to my new roles this capability to reinvent the way we do in these domains.
I mean, that's great because with that kind of goal, you are never going to get bored. I
Exactly.
mean, you're always going to be entertained because there are always new ways, of course, to innovate. So I think that's a great drive.
But you know, one thing that is very interesting here is your role at Orange is really a kind of a role that blends law, technology, business strategy, communication. I have seen many of your videos where you explain, innovation. You try to introduce what is new and how it serves people. But what parts of your work feel the most intellectually exciting to you right now?
I think that the interest of my role is in the combination of everything. Of course, I have this chance of working on research and also IP, which are intellectual domains, very demanding, very challenging. So it's so interesting because it's really a way to be fed daily by new topics, new things. You have to learn every day, to discover, to understand. That's something so interesting. You can't be bored uh, with this kind of position and role. And also because I think that the combination of all these different topics and skills brings something special in a way, in the way that I never do the same thing each day. All days are different one from another, and it is very dynamic. So the I'm not really I wouldn't say, oh, I'd rather to read a scientific publication or to read a patent filing or to have a conference or to give a talk or something like this. All these different things are very important and interesting for me. And really, I find the combination quite unique, and I'm so happy with that. So I don't want to select one. I want all those.
Well, you know, that's very interesting because in telecommunication, uh, the innovation evolves continuously. I mean, we all know that telecom, some people believe that telecom is granted, is something that already existed, and we know that it is evolving all the time. But how, as Orange, the approach of Orange to innovation developed in response to emerging technologies such as everybody's talking about AI or quantum computing or even green networks.
I think that also we have to change the way the public considers operators and telecommunications players, because it's 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 really true that probably people think that we have so many time to adapt to create our networks and the future of our services, that it could give the impression that we are quite we're not too much speedy or too much adaptive or flexible, and the reality is very very far from that today. I see that with the way we practice research today so far, we have to embrace different temporalities. We have to be really agile in the short term, how to bring solution to unsolved problems thanks to the scientific approach, and also how to prepare the future with new generations, new technologies, which require a lot of time, lot of trials, field tests. So it is quite complex to make people understand that we are not in the backstage thinking about the future or creating the future. No, we are directly on the field, like playing tennis. I don't know, at the filet, to be really able to send back the ball very rapidly and with the right answer. And in the meantime, being able to have this long-term view and positioning. So it's part of the complexity of what we do. And probably also now we are entering a period of time where the subject of today will be probably the subject of tomorrow. If we take, for example, quantum, we have already announced commercially first network for quantum last March or last June, sorry, during Vivatech. And so it's a kind of reality offering a quantum safe network for our business customers. But there is so many to do regarding research in quantum so far. For quantum communications, cryptography post quantum, or even quantum computing to enable our very large artificial intelligence algorithm models and these kind of things. So it it is a special moment for telecommunications environment. It is really a turning point. We are reconsidering the way of operating our networks with so much more artificial intelligence models, software applications. It's a very challenging time because our role is evolving so fastly that it creates much more tension for research teams. Sorry, to find the compromise and the way to answer today's challenges, and in the meantime to really prepare what will be the next gates and the future for our company. But it is really passionating, and I think that also we have a unique opportunity to consider our social responsibility not as a constraint but really as an opportunity, because now we are able to design our future networks with the willingness of having efficiency without spending too much energy, having resilience without making too many investments, being quite frugal in the way we design our network. So it's very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, it really does sound like exciting times. And all this innovation, I mean, it goes hand by hand with intellectual property. So I'm going to move on to the next question that it's related with IP. So in the past, you have spoken about IP as a tool for enabling and not just protecting innovation. Could you share how that mindset shapes the way Orange manages its IP portfolio?
First, perhaps I could remind our public that we are one of the main players in IP in Europe. We have a portfolio of 11,000 patents, which is quite big. I think we file more than one patent per working day, so we are very dynamic regarding our inventiveness. Sorry. And this is true that with such a large portfolio and with such diversified activity for the group, we are playing with our IP on many domains, I would say, because first of all, we are creating IP assets to offer the best services to our public. Really, our first drivers for innovation is innovate to bring the best of the technologies for our customers. So many of our patents are embedded in our products and services. Secondly, we really think that there is no other way of offering our services than being compliant. All the different operators, all the different manufacturers in the world. So interoperability, standards, norms are so critical to us. We are really convinced that it is the best way to offer innovation to the public, to allow new players to enter our markets. And so to bring dynamism, to bring innovation, to bring new services. So part of our IP activity also is dedicated to contribute to those standards and norms. So it's very, very important for us. So we are talking here about standard essential patents, of course, but it is so critical because the main objective initially is not to have SEP, is really to create and build standards altogether. So to and invest to make possible these standards. And then we have other type of assets like big tech company. So we can do tech transfer, we can do licensing, we can do many things with our patents to enable, for example, startups with new sets or to massify some portfolio for other industrial players. Or we also use our patents to create partnerships. So in the way we are going to partner with some big companies, we could join our efforts and have common understanding of technological subjects and to offer access to our patents. So there is so many things to do with such large portfolio, but really initially our first drivers are to serve our public, to bring new technologies to the public, and then also to create standards.
Let me rewind a little bit because you exposed like Orange has a very clear innovation strategy. You are investing in patent filing, you have an intellectual property right strategy. You are also contributing to standardization, which means that you have a standardization strategy that may be linked to the IP strategy that you have. Can you tell me more about the role of SEPs, the standards essential patent, and how, and maybe not only how, but why SEPs are quite often misunderstood?
That's true that there is probably misunderstanding or estimate about the value of ACP in our environment. I think it is very important considering the last discussions we had at the level of the European Commission in the last months. It's very important to make our public understand why there is some ACPs in our intellectual property environment. Initially, what we do is really to invest on our own all the different industrials to elaborate standards and norms. And the way we are going to have a very smooth payback on this investment is having some rights, intellectual property rights, in the creation of these standards. But finally, the public, most of the time, does not really understand that our patents are finally not as much valorized or valued, considered compared to other patents because they are embedded in norms. And because it is a standard, most of the time, we monetize our patents being in patent pools to create one-stop shopping, helping industrial to access very easily with just one stop and one price for a global technology. That most of the time we compromise on the value of our patents, especially to offer that easy one-stop shopping. And this is something probably we don't explain enough in our telecommunication environment, because finally it is an undervaluation of our patents to make innovation possible and to scale innovation. And so I think it is really unusual at an industry level to have this kind of teaming up between different companies to elaborate something common to allow innovation and to allow open innovation. And in addition to that, I will also add that most of these companies, they are also very willing nowadays to use in complement some open source um, models or open source software to complement the different products and services we offer to the public, which also give me the opportunity to explain to all those who are listening to us that open source and patents are not opposed, they are complementary. And it's very important to understand all these mechanisms. And so to be very confident in the fact that SEPs are really essential for our telecommunications and digital environment sovereignty. And it's critical to still have this kind of investment from big companies in elaborating new standards for new networks.
Thank you so much, Liz. I think now it will be much clearer for a lot of people why it's so important, the existence of SAPs. Now I would like to go beyond the intellectual property itself. So you have mentioned how Orange works with startups and universities and industrial partners. And I would like to know more about how do you build collaboration frameworks that respect each party's IP while fostering trust?
Different models exist. Uh, I think that the most important is being able to adapt to the size and the category of the companies we work with. It is really the most important. So, depending if we are going to cooperate with a startup or a big group, or if we are in a research context, creating research projects all together. First of all, it's probably interesting for our public to understand that we are very supportive of going. Uh, we are very supportive of practicing research through collaborative projects at the French level, European level, of course. It's very important and it matters to us. It matters first because it is a way of creating legitimacy, having technological convictions, create expertise and skills, and share that in between different kind of stakeholders, because most of the time in these collaborative projects you can find big groups, startups, corporate institutions, academics. So it's a unique mix of stakeholders for research. And then also we can have bilateral discussions with academics. It's also very important for us because we welcome in our group more than 100 PhD students each year. So we have many agreements with universities and schools to do that. And we are very willing to find each time the best compromise to collaborate with those academics. And also when it comes to big groups or co-invention, co-innovation with our big customers, there is different formats for sure. We can sometimes decide to put together our IP assets for a project, a dedicated project, or we are using very traditional or classical agreements with background and foreground clauses. Many things exist already to make sure to have the right tooling setup to achieve our research program. So it's very very convenient and very flexible. What is really important to understand is that IP rights is not a constraint for us. It's not a blocking point to cooperate, to collaborate, to do things very um,
Yeah.
attractive, and that makes the difference for the company.
Yeah, I think the key is flexibility, no? As you were saying, like to understand the needs in each situation.
Exactly.
And now we are close to reaching the end of the interview, but we are not quite there yet. I have a personal question for you. I would like to know what's the one quality you have developed over the years that has been key to your success as a leader in this field.
I think that time after time, I remain more and more humble regarding the business challenges I have to achieve because really we are navigating in a complex environment and there is so many surprises. Most of the time, we have to be very, very flexible. But if I have to choose just one thing, would be really to allocate the right attention to people. I think that we really underestimate how we can be successful by bringing confidence, being really in empathy with our teams, explaining the challenges. I think that it's so important to very rapidly understand what you can wait for the best from your collaborators, your partners, your customers, where you can go, and to be quite visionary in where is your card set up and how to use it. And I think that probably it is the most important for me. Of course, I have big ambitions, strong objectives, commercial objective, business objective, research objectives, quantitative, qualitative, so many things to achieve. But really, my best material to do that is humans. So I'm really confident most of the time when I feel the adhesion, the stickiness of my teams to our challenges, the willingness to do more, to improve. It's so powerful. So it is really my personal note for today.
I,
I really love that answer.
Making
I
the
think,
making the most and the best of everyone.
yeah,
I like
yeah,
it,
I
but
think that,
that's not always easy, and that's really a challenge. And
Oh,
I recognized, it may require a lot of energy and passion. But
for sure.
to try to close it all, I have a special question for you. Just imagine, hypothetical, if you were not working in innovation, in IP, or in tech at all, what else will you be doing today?
Ah, probably something around more artistic paintings or something like this.
I like it.
Probably more creative, even if we have to be very, very creative in our work. But I mean, from an artistic point of view, probably.
But thank you so much. I mean, the discussion has been great. I think that we learn a lot about you, also about innovation, IP strategy, and also about Orange. Thank you very much for your time.
It was a pleasure having you, Liz. Thank you and have a great day.
Thanks to both of you. Thank you so much for having me today. It was my pleasure.
Bye bye. Thank you for listening to IP Stories by 4IP Council. Visit our website on 4ipcouncil.eu to find out more and check out the links mentioned during this episode. If you liked it, remember to share and subscribe.